locked up and sentenced to a quarter century. Could I count on you to be there to support me mentally? Pick up, please don't make me pull up. She calling me crazy, she know I can't help it. I want you to myself, no one else. Why they calling me selfish? Shawty thick as fuck, she ate up rice and cabbage.
Hey guys, it's Sunny Orvi, and by the title of the video, I am doing another story time, and this one is very, very personal. Now, y'all please leave the comments just saying stupid shit and being judgmental. Like, obviously, I know I'm telling my business, but I really feel like this story can help somebody. And if you really pay attention to it, you're going to understand how this experience was meant for me to go through, because it's interfering with my career. So yeah, but believe it or not, when I first started doing horoscopes on this channel, I would get a lot of clientele who were cam girls, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because I was wondering why my past was still haunting me even though I wasn't doing it anymore. Like, I don't know, it was weird. But let's get into the story. Hopefully I don't ramble too much, and hopefully this makes sense, honey, okay? But let's just start with the beginning and then work my way up. I had my son, my oldest son, Joe, when I was 18. I lived with my parents. The abuse wasn't as crazy as it was, but I did watch my mom struggle in regards to paying the bills. My dad, he did have a really bad addiction problem to alcohol and gambling, and majority of the time he would spend his paycheck on lottery, going to the casino, and beer, and just fixing up his car. So yeah, I had a job, but not for long, due to me like just letting stupid shit get in the way of my responsibilities. And my mom like really helped me out with my son a lot, and that made me feel like shit, because I don't know, like, y'all, I was just going through a lot at the damn time. And like, I didn't, like, even though like I was a mom, like, I don't know, in my mind I was still that little girl who saw her parents fight. I don't know, like, it didn't dawn on me that I was growing up just yet. But with that being said, I wasn't receiving help from Joel's dad at all. It was some stupid mess dealing with him, and his parents wasn't really helpful either. However, his aunt and his cousins like helped me out a lot with Joe, so God bless them. But yeah, with that being said, like, I don't know, like, I just felt like I wasn't being a good mom all the way, because it was, I couldn't really support my son. So at the time, and like before then, like before the age of 18, 14, I will say, for some reason I always wanted to be a porn star. This is really disturbing, but I think I said this, but I can't remember. But I started watching porn at the age of 9 due to me finding a family member's like DVDs, and I don't know, I just found it interesting. And I was sexually abused at a young age as well. So I don't know, like, this sex just was natural to me. But like I said, I wanted to be a porn star, but I just didn't know how to become one. And I need the money, and I wasn't able to find another job. Like, at the time, everybody was not hiring for some reason. So I found this cam girl site. I'm not going to give the name, but I applied for it and I got hired, you can say. Now, the way that this website was set up, like, you had to send your information, you had to send them an ID, a valid ID. I think that was it. I don't think you had to send social, I can't remember, but yeah, you had to send that. And then once you got approved, you had to take pictures and create a little bio about yourself and create your little porn cam girl name. I'm not gonna say my name either, but yeah. So like once I got approved, I did all that. But the way that this website was set up, they had their own system of revenue, and the way that like their money setup was called tokens. So how many ever tokens you got during that week, it was converted to your country's currency. And I think the payout was weekly. No, it was once during the beginning of the month and then at the end of the month. And disclaimer, like, I'm not encouraging girls to do this. I'm not at all, so please don't think that at all. But back to the story. So yeah, like on this website, it was mainly, no offense, it was mainly a lot of white girls. Like it wasn't a lot of black girls on there. When I decided to go live, I was very, very shy. Like honestly, naturally, I'm a shy person. And like, even though like I wasn't in front of people and I was just on camera, like I don't know, it was just weird. But also the way that the website was set up, it was kind of like a chat room. Like they see that you are online, they click your icon and it pops up to your room, and they see you, and all you see, well, all I saw of them were their screen names and what they typed to me. Yeah, so I really didn't know what to do, to be honest. Like I just talked to them, like when I first really started, and like I would get sometimes I would get the hate shit, like go back to Africa nigger, like I would get stupid stuff like that. But there's, I live in a racial, well, I used to live in a racial city, so it was like kind of used to it, low key, kind of. But I don't know, it was just stupid. I don't know, but yeah. And I would also get a lot of people saying, girl, do something, like you're just talking. Like some people wouldn't mind me talking, but obviously it's a cam website, like they're there for one reason. So I would go into other girls' chat rooms to see like what all they were doing and to get advice from them. Some girls, they saw the Cam Girl website as their little outlet. For me, I just saw it for money. But I don't know, like I had to warm up to the thought of like just doing this. Honestly, I don't know, like I don't know. So yeah, but I got warmed up to the idea a bit, and once I started to get warmed up, that's when the tokens started coming in. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I made like hella good money camming. But the thing is, you have to be like online a lot. You have to set your prices high. Example, if you want to see this is how much you have, this is how many tokens you have to give, like kind of like that. So yeah. And another way you can make a lot of money was private sessions. You could charge your own price because you would do them on Skype and just connect it to PayPal. So yeah, my customers ranged from my age at the time, like 18 to like 70. And if they wanted to be seen, they would send a picture of them, or like you would see them on Skype if they ordered a private session. Yeah, let me think. Oh yeah, let me think. Okay, so yeah, I was doing the camera thing for a little bit. And I was able to help my mom, and I was able to help support my son, and I was really happy about that. But one day during tax time, we decided to go shopping at Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm from Martinsville, and it's like an hour away from Greensboro, and that was like the biggest mall besides the one in Roanoke. If you are in like the southwest area of Virginia, you know what I'm talking about. But like, I don't know, just when you want to shop at nice places, you just go to Greensboro. But so we went there at the Four Seasons Mall, and for some reason that day, like, it was just freaking crazy because, mind you, like, I'm a mommy's girl and I'm like always with my mom. That day, my mom, my granny, my son, and myself, and my uncle, rest in peace, my uncle is dead now, we all went to the mall. And I'm not the type of person who will like isolate myself. Like, I don't know, I'm awkward by nature and I don't like crowds too much. Sometimes it just depends upon my mood. But that day, for some reason, like, I wandered off, and like, I don't even know where I was going. Like, I don't remember, but a random guy stopped me and he was like, hey, how are you? And I was like, I'm fine. And he was like, I'm not trying to, come off, rude or anything, but my name is Mike. He told me his name was Mike. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, I'm Jocelyn. He was like, all right, nice to meet you. He's like, I have a quick question for you. And I was like, oh Lord, what the fuck? And he was like, have you ever thought about getting into the adult industry? And I was like, yo, is this like my golden ticket right now? Like, is it? And I was like, yeah, believe it or not, I'm actually a cam girl. And he was like, really? Okay, that's good to know. Well, I'm a director, and he told me, like, he named a few films that he did, but I don't know pornos by name. I just know the name of the porn stars. And I was like, okay. He was like, yeah, I'm not a creep or anything, here's my card. At the time, he didn't ask me my age. I looked older than what I was. I dressed kind of provocative, to be honest, so off the gate people just thought I was older. I am going to post a pic of me actually working, so yeah. Alright, so yeah, that's what I looked like. But yeah, so what was I saying? Oh no, he gave me his card, and he was like, well, are you from around here? And I told him, no, I'm not from here. He was like, okay, well, where do you live? And I was like, Martinsville. He was like, where's that? And I was like, in Virginia. He was like, okay. And he told me that he originally works in California, but he's out in North Carolina to do some filming, but he wasn't going to stay here that long. And he's like, well, if you're interested, he's like, yeah, I don't want to make you feel awkward or anything because I'm a stranger, but he said something like that. But he was like, if you're interested, give me a ring and we'll go from there. And I was like, okay, cool. He was like, nice to meet you. And I was like, nice to meet you too. And he said, all right. And he walked off. I low-key thought he was lying. His card was very basic, like, it was white, just like black lettering, and I was like, this motherfucker is some type of amateur photographer or something like that. Because also at the time I would get like a lot of photographers asking me to like model for them, and come to find out it was just like they just wanted to fuck. So yeah, but that night I actually looked him up and I saw that he was legit, and he actually filmed some of the porn stars that I used to watch. So I was like, yo, okay, so it must be meant for me to be a porn star. Like, I was just so set on being a porn star, but I only wanted to do like 1 or 2 films and just be done with it. And I just wanted to try it out just to see if I would like it. I'll do almost anything once. That's how I was, but now I'm like that with food. Like, I'll try anything once. But yeah, but anyway, what else? Oh, so I called him that night and I told him that it was me, like, hey, we met in the mall, it's Jocelyn. And he was like, oh, hey, I'm surprised you called. And I was like, yeah, I looked you up and I saw that you was legit. I'm trying to remember the conversation, and I saw that you was like legit. So Yeah, and he asked me, he was like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, or I forgot to ask your age. And I told him I was like 18 or 19. I was one of those ages at the time. I what was I was 18 turning 19. Was I my son? Yeah, because he was almost turning 1. So yeah, I was almost 19. It's like, damn, you're young, but it's okay because you're legal. That's all that matters. And he asked me like what sparked my interest in, being a cam girl, and I told him that I was doing it for the money. I never told him that I had a son. And he also asked me like like how much did I make being a cam girl. I told him, and he was kind of impressed with the answer, I guess, because of his reaction. And he asked me if I've done like prostitution, like escorting, if I had any other websites that I was on. And I told him I don't escort, but I was also a sugar baby. And he was like, okay, like isn't that what sugar babies do? Like, don't they escort? And I was like, well, I've had the opportunity to meet some of the guys. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. I did have requests to fly out to these men, but I got scared, and I thought about like, what if I meet this crazy motherfucker and like he kills me, or like I go missing. Like, y'all, true tea, I could have been one of these missing girls on these billboards, like on the newspaper. Like, I could have been one of those girls. Like, I used to like wake up in the middle of the night and just walk up and down the street at like 3 in the morning. Like, I used to do like dumb shit, like, y'all. But yeah, so he was like, okay, well that's no, let me go back. And I was telling him like I had requests to fly out to these men, but I never did it. And sometimes, like, with being a sugar baby, some of these men, like, they just want to talk to you. Like, they just want somebody to talk to. And yes, you can get paid, just to talk to somebody and like get to know them. That's how some men were. However, some men, like, they want what they wanted. So it just depends upon the type of man that you came in contact with. But when I told him like I had requests to fly out, but I just never did it, he was like, oh, okay, all right. He asked me how long was I camming, and I told him like not that long. I wasn't camming that long. He was like, okay. He asked me when's the last time I was checked, if I had any STDs, and I told him all that information. He was like, okay, cool. He wanted like proof of my records and that I would have to send it to him ASAP. What else? He asked, I remember he asked me if I stripped or anything, and I told him no. And I'm trying to remember the freaking conversation. This was so long ago. He asked the type of porn that I would be interested in. I told him what I would do, and he was like, okay, cool. He also asked if I modeled and if I had a portfolio. I told him I didn't. But anyway, he was just like, girl, you ain't did shit, pretty much. Oh Lord. But yeah, I told him like the type of porn that I would be interested in. And he was like, okay, cool. He was like, well, I'm letting you know right now, the money that you make camming will be way different than the money that you make with porn. And I was like, okay, why is that? And he was like, well, the newbies, they don't make much. The only time you make a lot of money is when you're well known, or if you like really keep doing it. And he asked me how long, that I wanted to be in the industry. And I just told him like I wanted to do 1 or 2 shoots. And he was like, girl, oh, well, he was like, either you're in it or you're not. And he was like, but he was like, I'm pretty sure I'll make you stay in it. And I was like, okay. But yeah, then he started talking about the mainstream porn that was popping and that you will get decent amount of money off of. But he also talked about the underground porn that you can make a lot of money like a lot of money on if you're willing to do it. The mainstream porn at the time was like the basic girl, threesome, gangbang. What he said something else, but I don't remember. And then he talked about like the underground porn that like more like fetish still, scatting, golden shower, vomiting, bestiality, interracial porn wasn't that popular back then, but he said that he saw it becoming popular. And he asked me if I liked white men. He was white himself, and he asked me if I liked white men, and I told him they were cute, but at that time I never like dated a white man. He was like, okay, well, you know, we can try that out if you're interested. And I was like, sure. And then he also talked about like fetishes, like the dom, submiss thing. And then he also talked about discrimination porn, like the racial porn, and like the rough deep throating porn. And he asked me if I would be interested in that, and I told him what I would do. And he's like, okay, cool. And then he started talking about what the hell did he say? I don't even remember how we got on this freaking subject. Oh no, he was like, well, there's another porn, there's another genre that is illegal, but it's the biggest thing. It's the biggest underground genre, and if it wasn't illegal, it would be a very popular mainstream. And I was like, okay, what is it? And he was talking about he said something else. I want to say like midget, even though like the midget thing isn't illegal, but he said something about midget. And then he was like child play and toilet play thing, like, yeah, nasty stuff. And I was like, child play, what is that? Like at the time, like I didn't really like know stuff like that, honestly. And he was like, you know, and he explained it, and I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, yeah, well I don't do stuff like that. I don't film that type of stuff, but I know buddies of mine that do. And I was like, well, like, if you know that it's illegal, like, why are you letting it happen? And then he was like, well, that's their money. I don't want to stop anybody from my money coming in, so that's their thing. And I was like, what the hell? And like I asked him, like, where the hell, like where do they get these kids from? And then he told me that sometimes it could be like stepfathers or like their actual fathers. And he even said like women, you know, were doing it too. But it, like for women, like it's more common to hear a man do things like that with children than a woman. But he said that women do this too. And he was like parents doing it to their children, or doing it to family members, students, like neighbors and stuff like that, or like the kids are kidnapped. And I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, well, you know, like he was trying to explain, and I was like, nigga, I'm low-key trying to get off the phone. I remember I said that, and he was like, no, you know, we can change the subject. I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. He said something like that pretty much, and I was like, okay. But I remember he asked me if I would do bestiality, and I told him, no, that's not my style. And then he was like, okay, well, you know, for what I hear, it sounds like, you know, you want to do this, you want to do that. And he asked, like, he also asked, would I be comfortable doing condomless porn? And I was like, not really. And he also said at the time that condomless porn was more popular and you would make more money doing that. And I was like, well, how much money am I getting, honestly? Because I remember he said I wasn't going to get a lot. And he was like, honestly, Some people get $25, some get $100. It just depends upon the type of scene that you do, and how good you are. And I was like, okay, because he knew how much I was making as a cam girl. And yeah, so he was like, well, I mean, it'll get better, you know, like once you get the swing of things. But he was like, well, you know, if you're really serious, you know, he was like, he started like complimenting me. I don't know if he was being serious or if he was catching the vibe that I was losing interest in this damn conversation. But he started complimenting me, and he was like, you know, well, I'm only in Greensboro for a little while. I told you this, but I am going back to the Valley in a few days. So if you want to come back down to Greensboro, you can, or if you want to go to, you know, California later on, like, what's your plan? And I remember I was saying something like, well, I live with my mom, so I have to ask my mom. Like, I remember I was saying, like, I have to ask my mom something like that. And he stopped. I remember he stopped me. He was like, no, I'll pay for it. So he assumed I was going to say I have to ask my mom for money. But he was like, no, I'll pay for it. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And what the hell else was we talking about? Oh, and like we was like briefly talking about something else, but it was still dealing with porn. And he kind of sneaked this in there, but he was like, I have basically it was just like I would have to have sex with him so that he can see how good I was and how I would fit in. And I was like, huh? What? Yeah, he was like, yeah, that's, you know, he was like, are you familiar with the casting calls, like the casting thing? And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, that's true, like you have to do that, like that's just the rule of the game. I don't know if it's like that now, but that was back then. And I was like, I don't know if he was serious or like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, I don't know. I like the whole child pornography thing just like threw me off. And then after like I didn't sound like confident with doing it, like he started to like kind of get a little mean. I don't know, like not like mean towards me, but like just very rude. Like he wasn't like sweet anymore. Like I don't know, like he was just, I don't know. And he was like, well, you know, you got my number, if, you know, whenever you're ready, like I said, you can fly out with me, or you can, you know, fly out whenever you're ready, just give me a call so we can make it happen. But he and he said, well, since you don't have a portfolio, when you come out here we can just do all that, and then we can start you in the scene. And he talked about how I wouldn't be able to pick my people, like I wouldn't be able to like pick the people that I do scenes with. It's just what he feels would be right for the scene, whatever type of scene that was ideal for that day. And I was like, okay, whatever. I kind of knew that already because I was familiar, you know, like with being the cam girl, like you don't know who you're doing things for. So yeah, but honestly, that was the last time I've ever talked to that man. I don't know, like just that whole conversation, I don't know, it just really threw me off. And that day I was just like, I don't want to be a porn star anymore, I don't like it. But I continued to cam for a little bit, and I was still doing my private shows too. But one day I had a show with someone new. He would come in my room every now and again, but that was the first time that he ever booked a private. And he showed himself on cam, and it was a 65-year-old white man. I don't know, like just see, I don't know, like I'm not trying to be funny, I'm not into that. And I don't know, like it was just, I don't know, just it was weird, and it made me think about my rapist, honestly. Like my rapist was a black man, but I don't know, like just it just brought me back to that, and I was just really uncomfortable. But like what really made me like all the way to stop doing it altogether was he was like, why are you acting funny? I paid you for this. And I don't know, like just hearing that, it made me feel like so slutty and just like ashamed, to be honest. Like y'all, honestly, like I wasn't a whore. Like at the time I was like very innocent, like in regards to like my sexual partners, but just mentally, I don't know, I was loose, I guess you could say. But I don't know, like just hearing him say that like just really made me feel slutty and dirty. And like I'm not gonna lie, like after that session ended, like I remember crying. But a few days later I went back on the cam thing, and I told like the people that came in my room, there was people who I was really close with and who I just talked to, and we really vibed. I told them that I wasn't going to be doing this anymore, and believe it or not, I'm actually still kind of cool. Well, we don't talk like that, but he's my Facebook friend, but I'm so cool with him, and we met on the campsite thing. But yeah, y'all, that's my little story. Yeah, it's a little crazy, but I am very happy that I don't do that anymore. But I find it very funny, you know, how like the whole child thing popped up, and that's what I'm doing now, like helping children who are in trafficking, who are abused, mentally, sexually, physically. Like that's what I'm doing. And I don't know, like I don't know, it's just crazy how God works in mysterious ways. But hopefully this story time helps somebody, and it gives you an inkling upon my life. If you want me to do more story times, child, I will. But like I said, majority of my story times is gonna be sad, depressing, ratchet as shit. Some of my story times may be funny, I don't know, but yeah. But once again, hopefully you guys, you know, enjoyed taking a look at my life or my past, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.